Well, hello everybody, and welcome back to Eiersholt. Most of the snow is gone. We're into springtime. But, as you might be able to hear, and definitely see now, it is very, very wet right now. I'm washing some potatoes again, but as you can see, I realized maybe I should get a little bit more clever about it and start using the belts to feed directly over into the potato washer. So that's what this setup is doing. In the meantime, I've just been using our overloader here to take out quite a few bags. These are the bags that we're going to be using for seeding when we plant potatoes again. But that basically means part of this pile in here can get washed and sold off, and the other part we're going to get into the pig food mixer. Either way, I need to get the overloader put down, and then I need to get around the corner here. The John Deere is kind of blocking the exit right now, so we'll try and sneak around this way and get the root crop bucket back on again. It's 9:20 in the morning. I've done the animal duties, so we're on top of that side of things, and I've actually readied the whole crew for groundwork very early this morning after I finished the animals. It was still dark, but it wasn't raining, so I went up to our new fields, the smaller fields up next to the forest that we bought 2 episodes ago, I think it was, and I cultivated the first one with the Joker. So our John Deere 8R is sitting up there, sort of ready to get on with the next set of groundwork. But I would like to see if it stops raining anytime soon, so we can get on with that. But first I'll just get the buckets changed over here and a bit more fed into the potato mixer perhaps here. So generally today is about getting a lot of groundwork, tillage, ploughing underway. We got a lot of fields with cover crop, so I want to make sure we get started well on those. Obviously ground temperatures are just come out of freezing, so we're not going to start seeding right away unless we get a really strong recovery here in early spring. It might even be into mid-spring before I'm doing a lot of the seeding. Basically I just need to check before we get to that, because I'm not sure whether this belt is reaching the potatoes or whether I need to tip them here for it to reach. I think I might have switched it off, so I'll just try and get it switched on and see if that helps. There we go, that's a little bit better. We are now feeding potatoes, and they are running all the way across, as you can see, and into the potato washer, so it should hopefully help speed things up a little bit. But it is, I don't know if it's going to reach back further into the pile here. It is a little bit, but I think we will need to push some at some point. But in the meantime, while that's actually feeding in by itself, what I can do is switch the help screen off to begin with, and I can start getting some of the potatoes over here on the other side into the pig food mixer, because today I also want to try and get the pig food mixer topped. Oops. I want to drive straight first. I want to get the pig food mixer topped up quite a bit. We have a decent amount of pig food in there, but I sold off some pigs in the last episode, so there is money in it, and I want to stay on top of it. So I'm down to 149. So just since we started on the new episode here, we've been around 500 pigs, and that's used up about 30,000 liters of pig food. So they do go through a fair bit now. So it's time to start up the plant here. As you can see, we do have a little bit of root crops, 12,000. I want to try and get quite a lot more in, and then I'm also going to bring over some corn and some of the millet for grain, and oil seeds. I think there's still some sunflower seeds from the previous year sitting in a silo. They might be good just to get those used up, but first let's just get a few scoops of potatoes into that food mixer. The rain has stopped now, actually, so although I said I was going to fill this up, I think it might actually be better to get moving on groundwork. This is a task that can be done if the rain comes back on again. But for now, let's hop up and look at one of our new fields and get that groundwork going to begin with. So here we are. The 8R is sitting ready with the Joker on the back. This is the larger field 11 of the new fields, so to speak. As you can see, we do have some wet patches there, but hopefully with twin tires on, this shouldn't be too much of a problem. So I'm gonna get this guy started. So that's the 8R off on its next mission. I just want to see what happens here as it moves in through the water. Slippage does go up a little bit, but it seems to be handling it just fine. So I think we can quite happily let the 8R run on courseplay up here on field 11. It's a reasonably large field. Still thinking about which of the root crops I want to put in here. The potatoes will go down on field 12, the smaller one, so it'll be a little bit smaller amount of potatoes than last year. But I want to do some carrots and some sugar beets as well. So there's going to be quite a lot of work to do with seeding those, obviously. But these fields are actually in pretty good nick. They don't need ploughing or liming or anything like that. But we do have another field that does need ploughing, so we better get back and get our subsoilers on the go. So obviously the subsoilers here are not as big as the Joker, but they do work as plows instead, of course, and with two of them working in tandem, they should make pretty good progress on plowing down our cover crop here and get the field ready. I'll need to spread some lime on this one as well, I think, but we'll see how we get on once we get everything set up here. So, we got the two T7s underway. It does look like I slightly messed up something with the headland there. But on the grand scale of things, they are running along the track, and I think we should be fine. The other one is a little bit ahead, coming down to the corner here. As you can see, he's kind of leaving one width off the headland there, but not too worried. Even if I have to do that one round manually, I don't think that's going to be a little bit of a problem. They're quite well spaced out right now, so I don't think we're going to get any issues on that account. But that's two fields already on the go. We actually got one more. So the last piece of groundwork, I'm going to use the Valtra here. We used to have two of these Agromass cultivators. I sold one off because we acquired the Joker. But I thought it would make sense to get as many machines on the go. We don't want to fall behind early on. It is a smaller cultivator, so I'm just going to take it down to the field just north of the vehicle shop that is ours and get the Valtra to work on that one. So that's interesting. Looks like the cultivator is bouncing a bit here. I don't know, that must be the REA mod maybe. Is he just trying to go a little bit too fast maybe? I don't know. Can I maybe adjust his speed to see if that will calm it down a bit, because it looks a bit janky there. So I'm just gonna have a quick look at that. Right, so I've just experienced a bit of a curious issue here. I tried to set Cosplay to run on the Valtra here, and as I mentioned, the agromass here seemed to be sort of dancing a bit. When I put him onto Cosplay, the groundwork stopped in all the other fields. They were moving, but they were no longer plowing up the ground. I'm not sure what's going on there, but we can hop over and see that they are now working fine again. So here is the two T7s. They seem to be working just fine, but while the agromass was running on Cosplay, for some reason they basically stopped plowing, and it looked like they were just sort of riding across the cover crop instead, which is very strange. It's not something I've seen before. I have just updated FarmSim to the new 1.71, so I'm not sure if it's anything to do with that or compatibility thing with Cosplay. But under all circumstances, the Joker seems to be running fine up in field 12 as well. Yep, there seems to be no problems here either. So I'm just gonna hop back to the Valtra and see what's going on. We might have to get rid of that cultivator and see if we can replace it with something else. So here we are, now sitting here on the ground. It's behaving itself quite nicely, but once I drove it in here on the field before, it was kind of bouncing and jittering. Now it seems to be behaving itself, but I just want to see what happens when I put it down here. If it's working, then it's fine. Then I'm just gonna not starting to do that. that cannot be a good thing. Yeah, I'm not sure what is going on there, but to be honest, we have 1.8 million euros, right? So I had a quick look over options, and to be honest, with the range here of the Valtra in terms of horsepower, I don't think it's gonna be worth trying to replace it. We're gonna use the Valtra for karting up at the farm instead. We are gonna get this one repaired and sold off, and then I'm gonna bring down the Zerion, and we're gonna invest in some bigger machinery, because we're gonna need it. We're scaling up the farm, generally speaking, so there's no need to beat around the bush, so we might as well get that sorted out. So here we go. I've gone for the Porsche Cruiser 12 XL. That's going to give us a 12 meter reach with a traditional cultivator. I was tempted to get one, the Bogo DLC pack one. It looks really cool, but it's 100,000 euros more than this one, which I thought was, you know, although we got good money, there's no need to be throwing it away either. So maybe one day, when we got absolutely nothing else left to spend money on, I'll look into getting the Bogo one. But for now, this Porsche Cruiser should do us very, very well. It's basically only the Zerion that's going to be able to pull it. Maybe the 8R at a stretch. No other tracks on the farm right now will be able to work with these machinery, but that's okay because we are generally scaling up. So let's get into this field and hopefully this cultivator is going to behave itself. So I'm just going to give it a little bit of a manual test here before anything else, but this seems to be working absolutely fine. I have no idea what was wrong with that agromass, but this was an investment that we were inevitably going to be doing here on Eiersholt anyway, so I don't have a problem with that. That's excellent, because now we can really rip some ground fairly quickly. Okay, I am getting an issue when I add another crossplay right now. I'm running one double route on field 53 where we put the two T7s to work, and then the 8R is pulling the joke up in the other field. So I'm pretty sure I've run more courses than that before, but under all circumstances I need to check back on the other machines, and then it looks like I'm going to be doing this field manually, but that's okay too. Yep, they are working, but as you can see there are some, I don't know, glitches, missing bits. One is terribly far behind the other or something like that. But they basically, again, they kind of stopped plowing for a little bit, but they are back on track at least. It looks like we are getting the field done. And then in the meantime, I'm gonna take over here in the Zerion with our brand new cultivator. But that's pretty neat. Get to try it out, see how the machine performs with it as well. It is still wet in the fields, but it seems to be coping without any problems here at least. So, with a tiny little glitch, the rest of the field 11, sorry, field 11, got finished without a hitch by the 8R here. So we're doing quite well here. just around lunchtime, and I think we can get the 8R started on a slightly bigger job. He's kind of gonna head back towards the farm a little bit, but it's underway. Field 17 is also full of cover crop, and it needs to get cultivated under as well, I think. But just heading down the road a little bit, we can see the greenery on the field over there. That's field 17. I am still leasing that field. I guess theoretically I do have the money to buy it right now, but I'm quite happy letting that one run on a lease just for now. I just want to figure out how I get into field 7. Oh no. Okay, we'll let the truck go, and I can get into field 17 just over here. And there's a road in there, and then I can get started. This is obviously a bigger job, and it's likely that the 8R will need to come back to the farm, or I need to bring the Thunder Creek out for refuel before this job is finished. But there is still daylight left, and we might as well get this started. That is the 8R underway. It's got about the same working width as the other cultivator that way I just got. Obviously this is a disc cultivator. I'm not actually 100% sure what would be most appropriate if you had a cover crop and you were to bring it in. I guess you would plow it in normally, would you? If you're a farmer yourself. Does this? Drop a comment, let me know. I'll be interested in trying to do it fairly realistic if it's possible, obviously. And in the meantime, of course, I can carry on manually down here, carving in some nice big swaths. I got the GPS on the go, so can more or less sit back and relax for a bit as we're working this one. It shouldn't take too long. So I've just put the cultivation down on our smaller field on hold for a bit, because while I have a bit of daylight still, because we are still in early spring here, so it doesn't last that long. I wanted to just get some of this pig food mixing done as well. Get a few more loads of potatoes in, and now that the Valtra is back up here on the farm, I want to see if I can get some corn in, some maize into this. We got a lot sitting inside. We've got about 300,000 liters of corn. Some of it is definitely going into the pig food mixer, quite a lot of it. But I'm also thinking I might actually be able to use the silo next to it. It could be worth making some CCM for the pigs. It might help offset having to use a lot of different types of grain. Because if we just take a look at the pigs' feed categories while we're emptying potatoes here. So as you can see, one of the categories has wheat, barley, corn, CCM in it. So I guess technically speaking, we could just use the corn directly instead of pig food. I'm not sure whether that's actually effective or not. I can also see we still need to try and clean them out a little bit better. I am having some difficulties finding all of the manure there. But I do want to try the CCM, but I need to pick up a grinding mill first, CCM mill, that will create the raw CCM, and then we can put it into the silo and get it fermented. Theoretically, we could also use the silage pit, but since we got a bin sitting here close to the pig farm, my plan is primarily to use it for feeding the pigs. So I got a decent amount of potatoes in. I will put more in, don't worry, there's plenty of it, but I just want to head down here and get some more unloaded, because I think the plant has stopped, and this might be enough to fill the trailer. Yeah, I think I am now in a situation where we can take a load of washed potatoes and get that sold. Just need to find out where the best price is first. So the best place to sell washed potatoes right now is at the supermarket. That, I guess, kind of makes sense. So I'm gonna get this guy running down to the supermarket so I can sell these. We are a little bit off the peak price by now, but it's still bringing in a decent amount of money when you come in with 45,000 liters of potatoes. While our potatoes are on their way to get sold, I'm gonna go and pick up another grain trailer, and I'm gonna start shifting some millet and some maize over into our pig food mixer. The millet I grew specifically for using in the pig food mixer, so I hope it's still being accepted here in the new version. I think I'll pick up the maize first. That we know for sure that is needed. As you can see, we have 370,000 liters of corn. This trailer is going to take out 45,000 liters, so that's a pretty good start. We might actually take over 2 loads if the mixer can hold it, but I'll get 1 load over first, and then I'll get the millet to see if that counts up in the grain category. And then I also need either the rest of the sunflower seeds plus some canola, so there's plenty to go around. Once this is in, this will also give us a better idea about any grains that might be left that needs to be sold off at some point or kept back. I do need a little bit of grain for feeding chickens as well, but I don't think that's quite as dramatic. So I better take it slow. This trailer feels a bit heavy for the Valtra here, but it should make it. So we're tipping in a good load of maize here, and that should basically kickstart the production right again, because it was the only category that there wasn't anything in at all. So that's a good start. So with the first load of maize in, the mixer now has something to work through again. So we'll try and get this millet picked up. I just want to assure myself that it is still an accepted type into the pig food. It was previously, but obviously all the feeding stuff has changed, and I think we should still be okay, but let's have a look-see. Well, so that has changed. I can't unload millet into the pig food mixer anymore, so that is definitely worth knowing. I guess it should be the types of grain that now features in the feeding of the pigs. So that means it would be wheat or barley instead, if I go by what they need in terms of feed here, and then still some oil seeds. Okay, so I have now got a bunch of millet. Big question is whether I should get it sold. I need to check a quick look at the price curve for millet and see where that's at, whether it has the same seasonality with a sort of peak around winter time. So millet is actually fairly flat across the year, except for sort of a small peak in midwinter by the looks of things. So I think we're going to be selling our millet. That's okay. That's going to bring us in some extra cash, and I think we still have enough grain held back of wheat and barley that we can manage to mix this. But Right now, I'm just gonna dump this back into a silo, and then I'm gonna try and get either wheat or barley, depending on what we have most of right now, and put that in instead. And our load of potatoes has reached the supermarket here, so let's see how much that brings us before heading back and getting some more washed. So that's almost 37,000 euro. That is still pretty decent. So now I just got to get turned around inside this quite narrow yard here with a big trailer, and then we can head back up and pick up some more potatoes, see if the price holds here, or if I'm heading off to a new location for the next trailer full. So we had more wheat than we had barley, although do need wheat for chickens as well, but we'll take one load of each probably. If we need 2 loads to begin with, it'll just be the 1 load. See if that is being accepted over at the mixer. Hopefully it is. So obviously with it mainly just being wheat and barley that's being accepted for pig food now, it kind of reduces some of the other crop types that are on the map a little bit, like the rye and millet and spelt. The only thing we can really use them for then will be cash crops, effectively, but it might still be worth trying to grow some different ones. But we got a very large wheat field across the road this year, so in that perspective, I don't think we should have a problem, as long as I can unload this wheat into the pig food mixer, which I can, so that's good. That's progress. We better see how fieldwork is getting on in terms of the subsoiling and the cultivation. Seeing quite a bit of slip on the T7s here, but they are still getting through it. It's heavy duty work, of course. And the 8R and the Joker seems to be getting on quite well. It's covered the headlands and just starting to do the cut-ins at one end of the field here. Now we might start getting a bit crowded because the John Deere's back and the Valtra is just finished unloading, so better wait here first. And in the meantime, the 6R can sneak back in, so it can start loading up the next batch of washed up potatoes. That system still seems to be running, although I imagine the belt will pretty much have cleared the area now. So the telehandler will have to start pushing over a bit of potato. So yeah, the belts are trying to move, but there's nothing left here, so I need to pick up some potato and move it over. Well, that is our T7's kinda done. It's actually looking a bit scrappy this time. I've got some manual tidying up to do. Now, I did have that problem when we were trying to use the Veltra, where they kind of glitched out, and that's why we're seeing these weird little strips here. And then obviously there's a bit of an issue with end strips there as well. But we certainly still saved a lot of time compared to having to do the whole field manually. So from that perspective, I'm going to be finishing this off. Once the last bits of the pig food is mixing, we got potatoes on the go. We have knocked out 1, 2, 3, 4 fields today, possibly even 5. So that's not bad for the first day of early spring here. But it is nice to be back on some groundwork here on Eiersholt. So next time you come back and visit me here on the farm, this will look a bit tidier, that's for sure. And the fields that was underway with the 2 big cultivators, they'll be done as well. And depending on how the weather behaves, it will be time to either start looking into what we're doing with our sort of root crop farm area. Spent some money, quite a lot of money is going to be spent on that. Alternatively, if we get sort of a mini heat wave, because it's up to 12 degrees already, if the ground temperature really starts coming up, I want to get seeding underway. And obviously we are using the realistic seeder mod, so I'm going to have to buy in the seed. And I need to do a little bit of calculations on that. And now that we learned today that millet is not a goer for pig food anymore, I need to perhaps revise my crop plan just a little bit. But that's all part of the fun and games of the new version here. Get to try out some new things as well. But with a view of a little bit of tidying up work here in the field, I am just gonna take us back to the farm so we can finish off the pig food for today. So that is a very big load of canola. That does use up quite a substantial amount of what we have left in the silo, but on the other hand, that is also going to create an awful lot of pig food. Once I got this load of canola over, I think it's time to bring over 1 more load of maize, as long as it doesn't overfill anything, then we should be fine. So while the canola is unloading here, just going to take a look at the displays. So we can see we chewed through a bit of maize already. That is the one going down much quicker than anything else. We got 60,000 liters of grain now. We got 54,000 of oilseed. We got plenty of potatoes to add a bit more in. Probably make it up to 40 or 50,000 or so. But we do need more maize in this system, that's for sure. So I'm going to get 1 more load for today. Then I'll keep an eye on it. I think even with 1 more load, we're probably going to run out of maize in the mixer before anything else. But with 2 loads in there, it's definitely going to create a pretty substantial pile of pig food here. And obviously, we will need it. The herd is still growing, although I do have to start thinking about how big I actually want it to be. It's sitting at 500 now, and this is obviously consuming quite a few loads of grains. I mean, I can't complain. We have plenty of money. It's not like we haven't been able to sell any grain this year, but nevertheless, the maximum capacity for pigs is like 1,500. We're not going to be going to 1,500, but I need to try and stay on top of selling off some of the bigger ones that brings the best price in. So here we go. last load of grain for the food mixer today. Maybe I'll manage to get another load of potatoes washed, but it does take a while to work through, and it does 15,000 liters at a time. Then we tip them into the trailer, but the 6R is sitting ready over there, so it should be relatively straightforward to stay on top of that while there's still a bit of daylight here. But that I will be doing off screen, because as I am reversing the valve train here with another load of maize, I think that is it for today. We had a little bit of arguments with cosplay. I'm not quite sure what's causing this issue where going up to the 4th worker seems to kind of knock it out. I need to check my settings. It is possible that I just messed something up. In fact, it's more likely. It's the most likely explanation there is in many ways. But for now, that's our progress in spring. Made some really good headway on the groundwork, which just means that we are ready to seed. I still want to get some slurry out on definitely on our grass, but possibly also on the clover and the alfalfa, depending on how far it stretches. But for now, for today, it's thank you very much for watching from Overcoat Gaming, and see you again soon.